Joe Tate's darkest hour. Caleb unleashes a bombshell blackmail twist after horrific crash. Oh, Emmerdale fans. Let's all just take a deep breath together. If you watched tonight's episode, your jaw is probably still on the floor. If you missed it, you need to sit down. What we just witnessed wasn't just a dramatic cliffhanger. It was a devastating, game-changing twist that has spun the entire village on its axis. Joe Tate, a man already pushed to his absolute limit, has just been caught in the most nightmarish trap imaginable. And the man holding the key, the one and only Caleb Milligan, who just proved he is perhaps the most dangerous and calculating player in the Dales. This is so much more than a car crash. This is a story of revenge, desperation, and a secret that could destroy 2 lives forever. The rage before the storm. Let's be honest, this has been simmering for weeks. The situation between young Carl and Clemmy has been nothing short of heartbreaking. After Clemmy sent an indecent image to Carl, the entire situation exploded, leaving 2 families at war. When the police questioned Carl and then announced they wouldn't be taking the investigation any further, it was a gut punch for Dawn and Joe. For them, and especially for Clemmy, it felt like a complete betrayal. Clemmy has been spiraling, locking herself away, and confiding in Dawn about her deep-seated struggles. It's been agonizing to watch. Joe, seeing the pain in his family, has been vibrating with a level of rage we haven't seen in a long time. He's been a man on a mission, desperate for justice. This led him straight to Jimmy King. In their last confrontation, Joe was terrifying. He was incandescent with fury, disgusted that Jimmy and Nicola were painting their son as the only victim in this mess. Joe's anger boiled over, and he issued a dark, chilling threat against Jimmy. It was one of those lines that hangs in the air, a promise of justice that sounded a lot more like revenge. He probably wishes more than anything in the world he could take those words back now. 1 second, 1 distraction, 1 life-changing mistake. Tonight, we saw Joe driving down one of those dark, winding country roads. He's clearly still stewing, his mind a million miles away, replaying every injustice, and then his phone rings. It's Dawn. The irony is almost too cruel to bear. The very person he's trying to protect is the one who distracts him at the worst possible moment. He glances down at his phone just for a second, but a second is all it takes. When he looks back up, a figure is right there. It's Jimmy King. Joe swerves, a desperate, panicked reflex, but it's too late. The sickening thud, the crunch of metal and bone, is a sound that will haunt him forever. Joe's car grinds to a halt. He stumbles out, his heart pounding in his throat, and sees Jimmy lying unconscious, or worse, motionless on the tarmac. And this right here is the moment that changes everything. You could see the sequence of thoughts flash across Joe's face: shock, terror, and then calculation. His mind flashes back to the pub, to the threat. His threat. He knows exactly how this looks. This doesn't look like an accident. This looks like attempted murder. In that split second of pure animal panic, he glances back at his car. Is he actually thinking about leaving, fleeing the scene? We'll never know for sure, because just as that horrifying thought seems to cross his mind, a voice cuts through the darkness. Joe? It's Caleb Milligan. He's standing there watching. He didn't just see the crash. He saw the hesitation. He saw it all. The puppet master pulls the strings. The cold dread that washes over Joe is palpable. He's been caught by the last person on earth he would ever want to be a witness. Busted, Joe finally scrambles to do the right thing and calls for an ambulance. Jimmy is rushed to the hospital, his life hanging in the balance, while Joe is left to face the man who now holds his entire future in his hands. Later, at the depot, the air is thick with tension. Joe, still shaking, tries to explain himself. He's terrified that Nicola is going to tell the police about his threat in the pub, that they'll piece it together and he'll be charged with something far worse than a simple accident. And this is where Caleb reveals his hand. Caleb isn't angry. He isn't shocked. He's delighted. You can practically see the gears turning in his head. He realizes in this instant that he has just been handed the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. He hits Joe with the bombshell. He reminds him of their other little secret. Remember that? Remember when Joe Tate, in a desperate bid to save his own skin, stole Caleb's kidney? It was one of Emmerdale's most twisted storylines, but Joe got away with it. Why? Because he had his own leverage on Caleb. Joe knew about Caleb's involvement in Anthony Fox's death. It was a stalemate. Mutually assured destruction. You tell the world I stole your organ, and I'll tell the world you're tied to a man's death. Until tonight. Tonight, the stalemate was broken. Caleb finally has new, fresh, and undeniable leverage. With a cold, satisfied look, Caleb lays down his deal. It's beautifully simple and utterly terrifying. Caleb will keep his mouth shut. He'll tell the police he just happened upon the scene after the crash. He won't mention Joe's panic. He won't mention the hesitation. He'll make sure Joe's threat in the pub sounds like nothing more than hot air. In return, Joe never breathes a single word about Anthony Fox to the police, ever. Caleb will use this accident to bury his own dark secret for good. The choice that will define him. Joe is trapped. He's utterly, completely trapped. He's a man who has been screaming for justice for Clemmy, and now he's being forced to let another man get away with a horrific crime, just to save himself. If he refuses the deal, Caleb will ruin him. He will paint a picture of a man who threatened his rival and then ran him down on a dark road, only stopping because a witness appeared. Joe will go to prison for a very, very long time. If he accepts the deal, he walks away from the crash, but he has to live with himself. He has to live with the knowledge that he let Caleb win, that he sacrificed justice for his own freedom. He becomes the very thing he hates. What will he do? Caleb has given him until tomorrow, until the police show up to take his official statement to make his decision. This is a masterstroke of manipulation from Caleb. He has waited patiently, and tonight, Joe Tate walked right into his web. What happens now? Will Joe sell his soul to stay out of prison? Is Jimmy even going to survive? And how can Joe and Dawn ever come back from this? This is Emmerdale at its most deliciously dark and complicated. Whatever you do, you absolutely cannot miss tomorrow's episode. It's going to be explosive.